Thank you and welcome back to the final segment in this series. The first segment, we talked about leading yourself, right? We talked about how important it is to put the mask on and be emotionally aware and very present. The other thing that we talked about was segment 2. We talked about leading yourself and leading others, and how we want to position you to be the type of leader that people want to work for. And I gave you some tips for being able to do that. Mastering those two means that moving into this third level positions you to have responsibilities for larger parts of the organization, for divisions, and maybe even entire business units. You may already have those responsibilities. And the reason why you're watching is because you're trying to figure out, maybe you have imposter syndrome, or maybe you've run aground and you're trying to figure out, how do I, harness, some of the energy or the disappointment or the frustration that people might have, because I have such a large part of responsibility for this organization. When you do, and especially during times of crisis, you have to put on and be prepared to successfully address whatever comes your way. And I know that that's really challenging, and you have a deep and broad audience of onlookers, but I know that you're capable of doing this. I know that you do, and my hope is that you'll walk away with just 1 or 2 tips to help you take things to the next level for yourself, your brand, and for the organization. Leaders who are successful at this level, they do a couple of things very well. One, you're seen as a thought leader and you're seen as an influencer who is business savvy. So you know people, yes, you know yourself, yes, but you understand the business you're in and the business model. You know how you make money, how you lose money, when you lose money, the effects, the seasonal effect, when there are shifts and changes, and you understand, you really get the business. There's like no gap in your knowledge on that. The other thing individuals who operate at this level well are doing is that they're able to inspire and to accelerate the performance of others, and they spur new leadership, not because of their position, as you may have heard me say before, but because of their great reputation, their credibility, and their trustworthiness. People want to follow people who have great reputations, who are credible, and who are trustworthy. And yes, you can have a position and not be credible. You are extremely resourceful when you are operating at a high level in this position. That means you know who you can go to for trusted real-time information. You are not caught up in, nor do you manage from your biases. Instead, you gather the voice of others to obtain wise counsel. You are then thought of as a collaborator. You build a collaborative culture, and you're able to successfully navigate conflict. And I talk about this, even though there's conflict at all levels of leadership, whether you're managing yourself and others, at this level, you have really created a reputation for and a framework for helping others work through and navigate conflict. Conflict 101 is peppered throughout what we need to do. But at this level, you have a framework for helping others work through it successfully, and not only on their own, but more broadly in helping others work through it. And then finally, you're self-aware and you're able to manage in your own narrative, what other people say around you based on real-time feedback that you get. So you don't wallow in things, but you're able to take that information and move forward. Now, if you don't feel like you're hitting it out of the park on all of these points, and especially during these trying times, I'm going to give you some things that I want you to do. One is I want you to delegate with confidence. This means that you delegate important assignments to trusted people. So you don't give important stuff to people that haven't proven themselves, but you give it to people that have proven themselves, and then you hold them accountable, well, without micromanaging. But, I want you to then turn your attention when you delegate to more important things. This keeps you from micromanaging. The problem that a lot of leaders have is they delegate and then they hover over and they micromanage. They don't turn their attention to more important things. If that's you, then leave those people alone. Let them hold themselves accountable. You hold them accountable in other ways, but you don't need to stand over them to make it happen. And then it allows you to kind of focus on the important things. The other thing that I want you to do is I want you to build your own personal board of directors, not the organizations. I want you to gather a group of trusted peers and mentors with whom you can call on during times of need and when you are in distress. And so these are people that can really kind of talk you down from the mountain and serve as personal advisors when you run aground or when you feel like you're going to hit or have already hit an iceberg. And you do not gather these people all together. So I'm not saying have a formal board meeting or a Zoom meeting with these individuals. I'm saying you need to know who you can tap for certain things. I certainly know who my go-to people are, and I don't talk to them all the time. But when we do, we know, they know whether they're, what position they serve in my life, how I can support them. And then I'm always asking, what can I do for you? So it's not one way. It is very much a dialogue. It is very much a relationship that I have with individuals. The third thing I want you to do is I want you to encourage collaboration and teach other people how to work through conflict. Remember, I said that successful people at this level are great communicators. They get people to collaborate, they delegate, and they also have a framework for conflict. You've got to build this out and you've got to develop this framework and communicate it, because only those who can demonstrate the ability to do so should you be willing then to tap for important assignments. They'll get the message, but you've got to express that. If you're embroiled in conflict as a leader, as a professional, you're never going to have success working and leading others and then leading more broadly in the organization. It's going to be one big giant ball of mess. And who wants to work in an organization or for a business unit who can't manage through the mess? And for some of us, we're in the middle of mess right now. So teach people how to work through conflict, how to get along and work together, and hold them accountable for doing so. Communicate then with clarity and willingness to for yourself to be put on the firing line. You know what that means? That means that you can answer those tough questions, that you show confidence, you have grace under fire, and that you can manage through some of the ambiguity that comes when you're working and leading through a crisis. And that's what we're in right now. So those are the 4 tips that I have for improving your success at this level. I am really excited. I think that you got some wonderful opportunity ahead of you. And I know these are challenging times. So I encourage you to stick with it, get the support that you need, and just keep moving forward. Tomorrow is a new day, and it has its own set of challenges. Lead with intention, lead with presence, and you will make the impact that you desire most. Until next time, this has been Pam Green. Thank you.